Welcome back to the Sleuth Intuition channel. I'm your host, Patrick Vallejos. We will be opening up the phone lines in probably about 15 to 30 minutes. So if anybody's calling in now, feel free to call right back or hang tight backstage. What is up? Welcome back to the Sleuth Intuition channel. I'm your host, Patrick Vallejos, broadcasting to the world live from Phoenix, Arizona. Welcome back to another episode of Sleuth Crew Check-In. It's where we put our ear to the track and we hear what the crew has to say. Look at breaking news, review true crime cases, look at what the channel has going on for the upcoming days, weeks, months. And we'll just kick it. So welcome in Jill Moser, Phil Bond, Sparky, Hiawatha, the Bear Jew, Dan the Man, Phil Bond, Jody Lynn, Jenny, Yankee, good to see you in the chat. So how's everybody doing? Happy Monday. Big Fish, Dave G, Big Bird. So I think some of the topics that I have here prepared for you guys, we'll talk a little bit about the hurricane. Some cases that I would like to review include the baby Lisa case, the Carly Bruscia case, the Flora fires, the Stevenson case, and the madman Ted Bundy, and another prolific killer, Gerard Schaefer. And then whatever you guys would like to talk about, let me know. What's up, Heather? What's going on with you, Sparky? Trying to stay awake. Sounds like part of the Nightmare on Elm Street. I've been up for 11 days. Fifth day, no cigs, so I'm doing okay, kinda. Good for you. Keep it up. All right, let's start with this article. This looks like the most recent article from your favorite news station, CNN. You know, they all they do is bring the facts, definitely non-biased coverage. Let's hear what they have to say. And I think Joe Biden just went live, actually. We may have just missed it. But I think a quote was, survivors, we will be with you as long as it takes. Or as long as we don't give all our money to Ukraine. One or the other, whichever happens first. Chopper Harris, what up? Shout out to the UK. You okay? Let's go ahead and hit him with it. Get to the chopper! Good to see you, Chopper. Good. Congrats, Sparky. You know, it's always funny when I pull up to a stoplight and I look over to the car next to me and they have the windows up and they're smoking a cigarette. I always think to myself, like, how do you get to that point? Wait, you're not partial to CNN? Look, we're talking about fair broadcasting here. All right, let's see. At least 115 people have died across 6 states. Let that sink in. Many more remain missing, perhaps unable to leave their locations or unable to contact family where communications infrastructure is in shreds. Hundreds of roads remain closed, especially in the Carolinas, hampering the delivery of badly needed supplies, and more than 2 million customers remain without power, according to poweroutage.us. There's a medium chance a new storm develops in the Western Caribbean or Gulf of Mexico later this week. So it looks like they're going to get hit back to back. It's too early to know where it'll go from there, so anyone near the Gulf will need to monitor the forecast. President Joe Biden will visit some of the affected communities later this week, as it will not disrupt emergency response operations. The White House said presidential candidates Kamala Harris and Donald Trump have expressed condolences. Yeah, Donald Trump's already there today. He's already there handing out supplies out of his own pocket. In case you didn't know. 4 ways to help those left in the hurricane's aftermath. Visit Impact Your World. They don't really give too much information. I mean, it just leaves me speechless. I just couldn't imagine a river flowing through my living room and just wiping out everything that I've worked my entire life for. Look, all of these vehicles down here are completely submerged. Breaks my heart. Like the real heroes are the linemen. Have you seen those guys coming out there? I have a buddy who's a lineman and he risks his life every day. It's a tough job. Good to see you, V. She Warrior, welcome. Yeah, I mean, what are you going to do? You have no power, there's no internet. All the roads and the major highways have been wiped out. I mean, entire towns are gone. What's up, Karen G? Yeah, it breaks my heart too. And I can't get this thought out of my head. Every time I see videos like this, I just can't help but wonder, are there people just right here somewhere that have passed away just in this rubble, somewhere in the water, in the wreckage? Somebody's grandmother, somebody's daughter, somebody's son, somebody's father, grandfather, their pets. Oh, yeah, Big Bird. We're about to have a strike, I think, on the 1st. And you already have some of the supply chain operations already cutting back, especially with the trains. They don't want to get stuck with all this merchandise just sitting in limbo. So it's pretty much already starting to affect us. Turmoil. How you doing, Phil? What's up, Patty? My mom's phone must have finally died. I pray to hear from them soon. Well, I know in one town they had to take boats, kayaks, and things like that to get to this one area that wasn't flooded. And it's the only place within like 100 miles that has a Wi Fi connection. So this is kind of one of the reasons I'm thinking about getting, what is it, Skylink? That Elon Musk Wi Fi setup. It's getting more and more affordable, and it's pretty decent from what I hear. V says most people don't even have flood insurance to cover this. Well, if it's anything like the Maui fires, I mean, nobody's going to get any relief. Here's a $700 check for your $400,000 home that's been wiped away in a flood. Taxation without representation is theft, by the way. Don't forget that. Hey, Karen G. Oh, yeah, yesterday's Delphi Live was pretty good. Triggered a lot of people. That's for sure. Hiawatha says, I have a friend in Valdosta, Georgia. I think that's what we're looking at right here. Who was trapped in her house until yesterday, rescued by locals with boats. Praise God. Yeah. This is going to separate the men from the boys. I wish I could get out there and help. I just wouldn't even know where to begin. Hey, Ricky. I hate it for everyone after living through Katrina. I wouldn't wish this on anyone. Very sad. PTSD is a real thing. Yeah, Hurricane Katrina was awful. I mean, they implemented martial law. They were going door to door, taking people's guns. Like, I mean, it was like we were in a third world country. Pretty sure the freedoms that we have are just kind of like an illusion. Like, yeah, you're free until we say otherwise. Karen G, this is terrible. I can't imagine this destruction. I mean, I can't wrap my mind around it. Brad from outside of the grid, good to see you. Says, yeah, man, this is from where my weed ships. Oh, yeah, you ain't getting no more weed. Not for a minute. They probably have a bunch of big farms out of here. Why? Those are gone. Solar Chef Steph says, I have Starlink. It's flipping amazing. Yeah, I keep telling my wife, like, let's get it. She's like, all right. She's like, let's do it. I heard you can get the little dish for like $100 now. Maybe that's what we'll do this week. Because we have a 5-year plan. We're going to go, we'll be off grid in 5 years. So, I don't know about off grid, but we're going to be moving out of the city. Check out the recent problems with Skylink. Big article over the weekend. All right, I will. Because apparently it's my job to make sure it's legit. Hey, Kevin. That's a bad situation for the people. Hope you good, Sleuth and all. Yeah, I'm doing very well. I hope you're well, Kevin. These people are not, they're not in a good situation at all. I mean, just imagine losing your vehicle. Like you wake up this morning and your car is burned. Like your life is going to be topsy-turvy right there. Just from that. Now, these folks, everything. I mean, they can't even go get gas. They can't go to the CVS. Hospitals have been completely destroyed. They're evacuating people out of hospitals. And all you hear is climate change, climate change. Like, trying to figure out when the climate stopped changing. See, these guys up here in the top, they got lucky. Looks like you got some people standing right here on the water's edge down at the bottom right. Yeah, I heard it was cheaper. I heard it was like $100 for the mini. But I could be wrong. Yeah, Karen. Richard Allen, I think he will plead. The only people that think he's innocent are the weird people who have been abused, accusing Kelsey German. So why would why would anybody listen to them? It's not Richard Allen, it's Kelsey German. Like, what the fuck? It's not Richard Allen, it's Brad Holder, because he likes to make runes out of sticks. And it's obvious that those were runes. I mean, sometimes I just don't think people hear themselves talk. They don't even listen to what they're saying. Hey, Brett Decker. Just got power after 3 days. Are you out there? Yeah, make sure you guys shake the hands of these linemen that are out here. I feel like those are the real heroes. You see these poles right here? They gotta fix all of that shit before you have power. Hey, caricature. On lunch at work for a second. Hi, Sleuth. What you eating for lunch? I just went on a walk with my wife and they were cutting the grass at the park. So if it gets quiet, it's because I'm having a sneeze attack. Phil says, "Oh yeah, Starlink is nice." Oh, you have it? Any cons to the pros? Hey, Tina. We got hurricane damage. Got to go clean up debris, praying with my magical thinking for all the victims. Oh, I like what you did there. Right? Like, what in this world isn't magic? Like, we're literally biological robots floating on a rock in space. What in this existence is not magic? Please tell me. Oh, that's magical thinking. Experts, right? That's why I don't care. I don't care how long you've been in college. I don't care what you did. If you don't have common sense, you've been a detriment to yourself. That's a good idea. Get to the chopper. It'll be easy for you to get to the chopper. Hey, Jerry. Tina, how are you? Hey, Turquoise Kitten, welcome in. Yeah, Asheville got hit hard. One of these video that I'm about to play, I think, is of Asheville. Yeah, prayers to you. Like, can you tell us what's going on out there? Now, is this Asheville? Yeah, this looks like an insurance nightmare. Each one of these cars are going to be useless. I'm not sure, Chopper, but right now the internet that we have is pay monthly. We have fiber optic. It's pretty good. I mean, I have no complaints, but Starlink, you can take it everywhere with you, from my understanding. And no matter where you're at, it'll automatically find the satellites. Other satellite companies, you got to position the dish yourself or have a tech come out and do it for you. All the bacteria and contamination from those waters can be dangerous. Yeah, this is not a good situation. Like, the flood is just the first problem. There's many more to come. This looks like Redmond's Tire Brake and Alignment Center. Looks like that business is completely ruined. Starlink satellites leaky radio waves. Ooh, that's not good. Have to look into that. Hopefully, it's not a disinformation campaign against Elon for his current political views. And said 40 trillion gallons of water has fallen on the eastern part of U.S. Meanwhile, here in the West, drought is likely to continue until early November. I think this is Asheville. I could be wrong. Let me see. Oh no, this might be Valdosta. How do you say that? Yeah, this might be Valdosta, Georgia. I think this one might be
Tonight,
Asheville.
An unfolding catastrophe in Asheville, North Carolina.
Yeah, this
Homes
is Asheville
and buildings
right
swept
here.
away by raging floodwaters that have submerged the town.
It's beyond anything I've ever seen in my lifetime.
Parts of the town not underwater, completely cut off.
Somebody on a Facebook post said something about having to fly out of Asheville because you can't drive out of Asheville.
That extreme.
Yeah.
With no power and no cell service, crowds formed outside this
What's
hotel.
up, Crime Jester?
One of the only places in town with working Wi-Fi.
We've been just trying to get on as much as we can and either get an email or a text out and just let everybody know that we're okay.
We met up with Cindy Tran, her forever home, a self-described oasis, ravaged by the cresting French Broad River nearby.
The water came up so quick, halfway up to the second floor. We thought the way it just kept rising so fast, it was going to get to the second floor. So we had to get out.
A similar scene in the town of Chimney Rock, virtually
Jeez.
wiped off the map by floodwaters.
Chimney Rock's gone. Flying Bridge is gone.
Meanwhile, the heavy rains triggering a massive mudslide that washed out this stretch of I-40, a major highway connecting western and eastern parts of the state. One bit of good news, two dams that were in danger of
I'm
collapse,
so sorry,
the
Turquoise.
Nolichucky and Lake Lure dams, now appear to be okay as water levels slowly recede. Helene's flooding rains bringing devastation to Tennessee as well. In Irwin, the scene of this dramatic rescue. Patients and staff rushing to the roof as floodwaters engulf the Unicoi County Hospital. Boats and helicopters converging to quickly get them to safety.
I was very concerned that we was going to lose the hospital.
In South Carolina, crews dug this tree off a car. Strong winds leaving more than 1 million people there without power. Back in Asheville, residents resorting to kayaks to get around flooded streets as they figure out how to move forward.
Are you okay?
I will be. I'm every now and then. I was fine yesterday, believe it or not, but now, like today, things have been settling in, and I just can't
Traumatized.
stop crying.
Although the water has started to
Look at
recede, the
that shit.
damage is already done. And with more potential rain in the forecast, people here just don't know how much more they can take.
Yeah, and I keep hearing there's another storm, possibly in the next couple days. It's going to hit right in the same area. I pulled this off Twitter. I mean, there could just be people throughout this debris here. It's wild. Yeah, you're telling me that's not magic? If anything's magic, it's that. It's matter. Yeah, I think I thought I had another video. Oh, I do. Hold on. Kind of shows how violent the flash flooding was.
we're gonna go up in the attic if we have to, guys. We can't.
Jeez. So make sure you guys are sending your prayers out here. Yeah, the article I just read said 114 people confirmed dead. What's going on, Crime Jester? It's everything after the flood will be the true disaster. 100%. There's getting ready to be a huge strike at the ports, too. That's good. Yeah, it's like the epitome of devastation. What's up, Fretless? Asheville is full of hippies. I like hippies. I like real hippies. We have a couple little hippie towns like that out here. Thank you, Karen. Good to see you. Yeah, imagine being just laying in your bed, you know, everything's fine. You haven't even been hit by the storm yet, and then here comes this flash flood. Your neighbor's house is just passing by in front of you. I can. I mean, I can do special orders. I have like a contract with somebody. So if you send me an email and shoot me a Cash App, I'll just do a special order for you. Just tell me what you want, what colors you want. Everything's pretty much the same price, $35, free shipping. But yeah, I can do green with white, green with black. Just send me what you want. Nobody likes hippies. I don't know. I think I'm somewhat of a hippie, I guess. Peace and love, man. Oh, I can hit him with that.
Yeah, well, you know, that's just like your opinion, man.
He's a conscientious objector. I dabbled in pacifism one time, not in Nam, of course. They're gonna kill that poor woman. We'll cut off your Johnson. Yeah, they need a lot of help. Fretless. You're into the whole brevity thing. Billy Graham. Is it? They sit around and smoke pot all day and talk about changing the world. Better than not smoking pot and destroying the world. Yep, just shoot me an email, man. I'll take care of you. Yeah, I pretty much stopped smoking pot. Every once in a while, I might go purchase like a pre-roll, but that's a huge change from the ounces I used to get every 2 weeks. Thanks, Feet. Billy Graham. Should do a story on Billy Graham. Caricature. I can talk about them because I married one. All right, guys, before we dive into any of these true crime cases to review, is there anything you guys want to talk about? Get it off your chest. Gail says, nope, he's from Charlotte, North Carolina. What's going on, Melissa? Yeah, is that for the debate between the VPs? Yeah, we'll go live. You know it. Yep, I'll see you there. I'll make a thumbnail today at some point. Crime Jester says, I just watched the replay of your time in criminality the other day, and I don't think they understood where you were coming from. Even when she came on your live, it was the same thing. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. It is what it is. She's saying Billy Graham is from Charlotte, North Carolina. And a big river is my backyard, so I'll be thankful it isn't flooding. This river is not supposed to flood anymore, but anything is possible. Thank you. Yeah. I definitely wasn't saying that he wasn't, his rights weren't being violated. You're 100% right about that. Because they very well could have been. I'm just asking you to show me the proof. But it's no big deal. Some people get it, some people don't. Brad says, I've been there multiple times over the past 50 years. I love North Carolina. I thought you were in your 20s. I've never been. I have never been. Damn, that's loud. Dropped acid and caught Primus on the Brown album tour. Was an experience, I bet. Yeah, who's the hippie now? I hate hippies. Let's go drop some acid. I bought a really great high quality grinder there that I still use a decade later. Nice. What's going on with your Keef screen? It's probably all clogged up. Take a torch lighter to it real quick and clean it right up. Solar eclipse, mini moon, all this weekend. Whoop. Planets are aligning. Oh yeah, and that comet's supposed to, what is it? The 2023 comet. Supposed to be visible in the middle of the day by the naked eye. Signs in the heavens. Can't wait. What's up, Jill? Hi, Watts. Brad's an old man. He doesn't act like one. He's got a lot of energy. Oh, yeah. All right. I hope you guys have your barf bags ready.
Anybody Ted Bundy? I've never spoken to anybody about this.
30 years after he was executed, notorious serial killer Ted Bundy is having his story retold in documentaries and crime series this year. The Netflix original Conversations with a Killer, the Ted Bundy tapes, uses video and audio recordings of interviews with Bundy to get inside.
This is kind of what bothered me about the whole Kohlberger being transferred to get another, into another state, seeking a fair trial. I mean, hopefully it's not possible these days for somebody to escape, I mean, this guy did it twice. And Kohlberger gives me Bundy vibes. They have the same eyes. Those bloodshot, demonic eyes.
His mind.
Yeah, I'm just a normal individual.
So who was he? And why are true crime fans still fascinated with him decades later?
Ted Bundy killed more people in more states than anyone we've ever heard of.
He was born Theodore Robert Cowell in
Over 80 women have been killed by Ted Bundy. That number's staggering.
1946 to an unwed mother and was partially raised by his grandparents. He moved around the
There's a rumor also that his grandfather is actually his father. And they have a lot in common. Apparently, he was a psychopath too.
Country as a child, eventually landing in Washington state, where his mother married a man named John Bundy. Biographers say he was bright and charismatic. His good looks and charm helped him gain acceptance into political circles.
Brad says, have you guys seen that video interview with Bundy's brother? Yeah, I think I have it. I have seen it. I might have it available. Maybe we'll watch it.
He could be the guy next door. Your fiance, your husband, your boyfriend, your lover. And then that evening, by his own determination, at his own discretion,
pure evil,
transform himself into perhaps the most diabolical killer we've ever known.
He enrolled in law school in 1973, but by the following year seemed to lose interest and dropped out. While authorities don't know when Bundy first started to kill, the earliest crimes they were able to link to him were in Washington State in 1974.
Washington State?
A college student was badly beaten and sexually assaulted in her basement apartment. And after that, young women in the state started disappearing every month until the summer. Around that time, Bundy moved to Utah, where authorities say his killing spree continued.
The cute driver leaned over and rolled down the passenger window and asked me if I'd like a ride.
Rhonda Stapley claims she encountered Bundy one night while she was
She's
waiting
lucky to
for
be
a
alive.
bus. She says he offered her a ride and she accepted.
I thought that he was going to kiss me. Instead, he said very quietly, "You know what? I'm going to kill you."
Stapley claims
Holy
he drove her
shit.
to a remote area where he tried to strangle her, but she escaped.
Don't forget, ladies, gun rights are women's rights.
Many other victims weren't so lucky. Bundy admitted to killing at least 30 women, abducting, raping, and strangling them. He also revisited his crimes by going back to view the corpses he left behind or bringing them home and
Well, he didn't go back to view the corpses. He slept with the corpses. He was a necrophiliac.
continuing to assault them, sometimes sexually. Deborah Jean Kent went missing from her high school in Utah in 1974.
I sat in the police station listening to his voice and listening to that horrible tape of him saying that he had followed my sister from the auditorium or whatever it was.
Fretless.
And that is the first time.
Al Bundy, yeah, I love Al Bundy.
I had ever felt
That's funny.
anger and hate, and
Good old Al.
I was physically ill.
Bundy was arrested in Utah in 1975 after being placed under surveillance for suspicious activity.
Yeah, it's true, Anna.
He was arrested and convicted of kidnapping and assault of one victim. He escaped custody, but was recaptured in Colorado. He escaped once again in 1977 and made his way to Florida, where investigators say he claimed 6 more lives.
Anna says, I think it has been proven. So, yeah, maybe it's not a rumor. Maybe it's fact. But I do remember reading that and hearing that a few different times.
Once again, it was a traffic violation that brought him
fucked up.
down. He was put on trial in which he partially defended himself. Bundy was convicted of murder, but that didn't stop him from trying to carry on with his life.
Let's go to Melissa real quick. Only thing is he was very charming, unlike Brian. Women don't like him. I get incel vibes from Koberger.
Will you marry me? Yes, I will. And I do hereby marry you. Thank you.
Bundy proposed to Carol Ann Boone in court during the sentence.
Something's wrong with this woman. So Ted Bundy used a loophole, and while he was in court, he was able to marry this woman. And while he was in prison, he had a baby. Like, that shit should not be possible, in my opinion.
Phase of his trial. They dated before his initial arrest, and when she had a daughter in 1982, with Bundy behind bars, she named him as the father. But the defiant move didn't sway a judge who
That's
handed
funny.
down a death sentence in this case.
It is further ordered that on such scheduled date that you be put to death by a current of electricity sufficient to cause you immediate death.
The punishment
Hell yeah,
has
Sparky.
done little to comfort the families he devastated.
I think all
The
women
mother
should
of
be.
victim Denise Naslund says her daughter's murder ruined her life.
I developed agoraphobia, and I don't go out anymore. In
She's
this
broken.
house 24 hours a day. It's like dying. I just
Purgatory.
think of how things were before Ted Bundy came into our lives. Nothing's the same anymore.
While he confessed to many crimes, investigators say he recanted many statements and couldn't be trusted to tell the truth. Ted Bundy was executed by electric chair in Florida on January 24th, 1989 at 8.
Yeah, at least they put him to death. He's a real demon. Let me see if I have that interview. I don't think so.
Like other missing person cases, this made worldwide news.
They never found anything. Not a thing, not a trail, not a speck of anything.
Anne Marie Bird disappeared from her Tacoma, Washington home on Thursday, August 30th.
Yeah, that's right, Bear Jew. It says God made man, Samuel Colt made them equal. It's the great equalizer. You know, they always say it makes a big man small and a small man big. Some people take offense to that, but I mean, it's true. But most importantly, you know, it's an equalizer. Doesn't matter how big you are.
First, 1961.
You think so,
Anne's
Crime
mother,
Jester?
Beverly Burr went door to door around the neighborhood looking for her daughter, but no one had seen her. It very quickly became a big investigation.
One of the complications for the search was that their home was very close to the University of Puget Sound campus, and there were 7 buildings under construction.
Yeah, Sparky, he's there
that
today.
day.
Rebecca
Helping
Morris
out of his own
is
pocket.
a true crime author who has been investigating the Anne Marie Burr and Ted Bundy link for years.
Don Burr, Anne's father, went back to the house and told the police, "You've got to go up there and look at those construction sites." Because
Anna says Gary Ridgway, Green River Killer, did that stuff with victims. He became concerned he was getting addicted to doing that, so he did fewer attacks for a while. Yeah, let me read something for you guys real quick. Maybe we'll change direction here for just a moment. I won't close that, but we'll pause that for a minute. All right. Have you guys seen the movie Silence of the Lambs? Okay, Ted Bundy was one of the most notorious serial killers in history when author Thomas Harris used him as his inspiration for the murderous Buffalo Bill in The Silence of the Lambs. With stars Jodie Foster and Anthony Hopkins on board, the film became grisly. But the truth is, Ted Bundy was more of the Anthony Hopkins character, and Buffalo Bill was the Green River Killer. So I think they have it backwards here. So here's a good example. You guys remember this scene? I don't know if you can see that. It's a little bit dark. So this is the Buffalo Bill character. So it looks like they kind of used a little bit for Hannibal Lecter and then a little bit towards Buffalo Bill. But he was wearing the cast on his arm, and that's how he lured his victims in. That's what Ted Bundy did. I think he wore like a cast on his leg too, and he had crutches. And he would gain your sympathy that way. You would lower your guard. Would you? So that guy talks. Do you need help? Would you? Perfect character for that. Man, what a creepy movie. Hey, here I have an article that talks about how Ted Bundy was, they kind of tried to glean information from him to help with the Green River Killer. And what's really strange is they dubbed him the Green River Killer, and his initials were GR, Gary Ridgway. Like, I wonder if that was like a subconscious decision that, he was killing around the Green River. Very strange. Oh, I need to go back this way. Sorry, guys. Friendly Snake, welcome in, says, I would have fallen for wounded Ted. You think he was handsome? I have some women that disagree and then some that say, yeah, he would have gotten me. What's up, Delulu? My husband and I were Bundy snatched 2 girls in one day. Yeah, at that park. I think that was the story that really gave me chills. And that'll really kind of bring you into the mind of him. Like how he could just kidnap one woman, brutalize her, murder her, assault her, and then come back to the same park the same day and do it again. I've never heard of anything like that. Yeah, there was one woman he picked up. He was stalking her. He would drive past her and she would be sitting at the bus stop. And then one day, he planned to murder her. He got all his gear together. And the day that he picked her up, she had like a beanie over her head. And I think the hood from her jacket over is really cold. So he got her in the car and started telling her like, hey, you shouldn't have got in the car. Why did you get in the car? And then she became really afraid. And they started driving, they started getting further and further and further away from where she was supposed to be headed. And he told her, take off the beanie. She took it off and she had cut her hair really short. Well, that destroyed the fantasy for him because he was killing women that looked like his ex-girlfriend. I think it was like his first love. And she ruined the fantasy for him. So it no longer worked. So she definitely lucked out. Here, maybe I'll put this up on the screen. It's kind of a long article, but it's very interesting. It was 1986, and Ted Bundy was on death row in Florida for a series of slayings committed in the 70s. He became intrigued by the Green River Killer, the then unknown attacker who was named after the Green River, which runs through several South Seattle suburbs, where his first 5 victims turned up in 1982. Bundy wrote a letter to Reichardt declaring, "Don't ask me why I believe I'm an expert in this area. Just accept that I am, and we'll start from there." So he didn't want to give them anything they could use against him in court. That's why he said it that way. The investigator with very few promising leads went from Washington to Florida, where he would meet with Bundy. The surprising encounter is explored in TUBI's new true crime documentary, Sins of the Father. So remember, them going to visit Bundy to learn about a serial killer is just like Silence of the Lambs, right? They sent Clarice Starling to go talk with Hannibal Lecter so that they can glean information about Buffalo Bill. So it's this scenario right here that they got inspiration for the movie. The Green River Killer, the documentary, features testimonials from Reichardt of the King County Sheriff's Office, forensic experts, as well as other closely connected to the case. We were pretty surprised that Ted Bundy would write to the task force, Reichardt told Fox News Digital. He made it very clear that his purpose was in his letter, that he wanted to do, according to his description, was to get us into the mind of a serial killer. But we knew just by the way the letter was written and the words he used that he was just injecting himself into the situation, trying to find out as much as he could about the case. Yeah, he was probably getting off on it a little bit. He probably was intrigued by this guy. You know, these serial killers, they seem to be intrigued by others who are like them. You know, they reach out to them in prison, like the smiley face killer. He's a pen pal of Rex Heuermann. I think there's a reason he did this, Reichart continued. He wanted to be the number one notorious serial killer in the United States. I think he was jealous that the Green River Killer was grabbing all the headlines at the time. Ted Bundy was in prison, so he was sort of a forgotten entity. The visit proved useful to Reichart, who was desperate to get any information that would further the investigation and finally put the killings to an end. During their discussions, Bundy made a horrifying revelation. The killer may be revisiting his victims' corpses and performing sexual acts on them, and Bundy would know. He was a sexual predator who also engaged in necrophilia. And he was 100% right. The murders began in Washington in 1982 after Bundy was given death sentences in 1979 and 1980. While Bundy admitted to killing 36 women during the 1970s, it's believed there were closer to 100 victims. He was executed in 1989 at age 42. Gary Ridgway had over 80 victims as well. I mean, I can't wrap my mind around it. It would not be until 2001, nearly 2 decades after the first murder, that Reichart announced that Gary Ridgway was arrested in connection with 4 of the Green River Killer's early victims. While Ridgway was a longtime suspect in the murders, the advances in DNA technology proved his role, allowing investigators to link the saliva sample obtained from him in 1987 to semen found on several victims. Gary Ridgway was one of the top suspects in the 40,000 tip sheets that we collected over the duration of the investigation, Reichart explained. But the reality of finally identifying a person who was responsible for at least 4 of the murders initially didn't set in until we found more evidence and charged him with 3 more, a total of 7. Then we knew we had him. The next step was, okay, how do we make sure we convict this monster? All right, let's catch up on the chat real quick. Melissa, I would have been dead. You would have fallen for it, huh? Yeah, I think that might have been the woman I was referring to, right? The woman that cut her hair. I think I have an interview with her. We'll go to that here in a minute. Yeah, that intuition. Trust your gut always. It'll guide you. Yeah, always go with your wife and your kids into the restroom. You guys hang tight real quick. I need to get some more water. My throat is really dry. Alrighty. Yeah, do they know that why Brian Koberger targeted them in that house? Bernard Childs. Oh, welcome in, TC. I'm going to write that down. I don't think I'm familiar with that dude. Delulu Rex Heuermann is the Knott's next project. Oh, gosh. Yep, we covered Samuel Little. Yeah, he's the guy that drew all the... he would make paintings or drawings of his victims. Yeah, I have a whole file on him on my other hard drive. Hey, what's up, Mustang? How you doing? And back in the 60s, early 70s, there was no idea of killers that hunted young women. Serial killers. Yeah, it wasn't even a term that was used. Like it's fairly, it's a new, kind of a new term. Hey, anything I like? Yeah, with the hurricane, looks like they have another one coming in the next 3 to 4 days, something like that. DeVoe in northern Kentucky. Yeah, well over 100 victims. I mean, just think about how scary that is. Every day we live life, like everything's just hunky-dory. It's a word my mom used to use a lot, hunky-dory. Not quite sure what it means, but, we think everything's just fine. You let your kids go to the park. Oh, yeah, you guys want to go to the park? Jump on your bikes. And then you have somebody that is responsible for over 80 murders. And it doesn't even have to be somebody that's like some kind of prolific serial killer. It could just be some kind of sexual predator. And they're everywhere. The apex predator. Brad, hunky-dory was a part of our lexicon too. I'm not quite sure what it means. I guess it means copacetic. Crimson and clovers. You might be right. Serial killer may have been invented because of Ted Bundy. You actually might be right about that, Anna. Hey, what's up? Richard Delaney says that means okay. All good. It's all good, man. Okay, Ridgway, a longtime painter at a truck company, terrorized the Seattle area in the 1980s from 1982 until 1984. He preyed on young women in vulnerable positions, including sex workers and runaways. He sometimes showed them photos of his young son to gain their trust. He had been a suspect since 1984. For decades, Reichart was haunted by the case. At one point, the case went so cold that the Green River Task Force was disbanded. Even as Reichart was promoted to sergeant, he continued to follow leads. He reassembled the task force in 1997 after he was elected sheriff. Over the years, Reichart met families of Ridgway's victims, assuring them that his search would not stop until justice was served. One of the hardest things about this case was going to bed each night, wondering if another body would be found. Someone else would be killed. Reichart admitted, "Over the years, our concerns and our worries were reality. Even as I talk to detectives today, there's always that thought of, could we have done anything different to solve this case sooner, to prevent loss of life in the 80s? But people need to remember when we started this case, we had no computers. There was no such thing as DNA. Everything was on a hard copy with carbon paper duplicates. We had 10,000 items of evidence." Here's a photo. In this undated King County Prosecutor's Office handout photo, Green River killer Gary Leon Ridgway is seen as he takes investigators to one of the sites where he said he allegedly buried one of his victims. On November 5th, 2003 in Seattle, Washington, Ridgway pled guilty to 48 murders dating back more than 20 years. I thought I had an... Oh, here it is. Surviving Ted Bundy. That's the one I was looking for.
And I still can see him.
It is a voice you've never heard. Did you feel like you might die?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
And film you've never seen. One of America's most notorious serial killers.
Ted Bundy was a charming man. He wasn't a charming man. That was a facade.
Stalking his next victims at a Lake Sammamish picnic.
He's not what people imagine, a sexual predator serial killer looks like.
And a woman who says she's finally ready to talk about her terrifying ride with a man named Ted.
When he said, "Don't even go there. You're never getting out of here," I knew that was my life flashing in front of me.
Ruckus.
It has been 46 years since Otria Kritsonis last journeyed down this stretch of road.
It sure has changed a lot, all the new buildings.
But the memories of a snowy Seattle day in 1972 are clear and haunting.
He was dressed real nice, and his hair was kind of wavy, and he had dark eyes. Handsome looking. It was in this area. This has all been changed, but it was right here.
So Tria was 22 and says she'd waited nearly an hour for a city bus to take her to classes in Renton.
Car pulled up to the curb, rolled down the window, and said, "Hello, young lady. Are you waiting for the bus?" He goes, "Well, I've come down Rainer Avenue, and that's a long ways, and there's not a bus in sight. Would you like a ride?"
In the 70s, in relatively safe Seattle, the handsome young man seemed more friendly than foreboding.
So you hopped in his car, not thinking it was going to be a problem at all?
No, I thought how happy I am now. I'm in a warm car, and I get to where I'm going.
As the Volkswagen Bug took off down Rainier Avenue South, Sotria said it quickly became clear this would be no ordinary ride, and this was no good Samaritan. It was Ted Bundy.
Right about here, everything changed. He started,
What's up, Julia?
Reaching under the seat, started yelling at me, "Why did you take this ride? Why did you even think about taking this ride? You're never going to make it to the school." And I thought, wow.
You were thinking about jumping out.
Yes.
Why didn't you?
I couldn't. There was no handle.
No handle on the door.
No handle on the door at all. Nope.
So Tria would soon learn it might be hair, not heroics, that could save her life. Many young women did not escape Ted Bundy, and some of their bodies were dumped here in remote areas of Issaquah. Others have never been found. It's also a place investigators believe Bundy trolled for more victims. It was the summer of '74, and employees of Rainier Brewing Company were enjoying their annual company picnic at Lake Sammamish State Park. In evidence never seen by the public until now, this film reveals how a day of fun became fertile ground for Ted Bundy to target his next victims. His Volkswagen Bug, seen here, offered a front row seat to watch women. That same day, in broad daylight, Bundy abducted Janice Ott and Denise Naslund from the park within 4 hours of each other.
The Lake Sammamish cases where once he
Jeez.
got them in the car, he would quickly hit them in the head with a tire iron or beat them in a tire iron. That was kind of his MO.
Film shows police on scene to investigate the women's disappearance, with Bundy's car still in the background. The bodies of Ott and Naslund weren't found until 2 months later, dumped in a wooded area about 2 miles away.
Or you're not going to go to your destination.
Back in that VW Bug,
I was sobbing and praying and, you know, pleading for my life practically. Don't do anything. Don't harm me.
So Tria says Bundy was driving her south on I-5 toward Tukwila.
You should have never taken this ride and shut the up.
She says Bundy's beratement led to a bizarre demand.
He goes, take your hat off. And I said, what do you mean take my hat off, my stocking cap off? What for? I took my hat off and he saw that something was different about me. And he goes, why did you cut your hair? I thought, why did I cut my hair? I keep thinking, did he stalk me? Did he see me somewhere? Was he waiting for me or was he watching me? He says, well, put that hat back on. And then he said, shut the up. And he's yelling at me, you're never going to make it.
He may have been involved in the rape murders of 36 women, all young and all with long
Saved her
brown hair.
life.
So Tria speculates the hair that she had cut a week earlier may have saved her life.
He could have killed me. It was just thank God I had gotten my hair cut.
Saved her life. Good to see you, Julia. Hey, Joni. All right. I think that's about as much as I can stomach of Ted Bundy. Let's move on to something else here. Washingtonians. Let's see. We probably have time for maybe one or two more of these. Maybe three. We'll see. Are you guys familiar with the name Gerard John Schaefer? He was an American murderer and suspected serial killer known as the Killer Cop, the Hangman, and the Butcher of Blind Creek, who was convicted of the 1972 murder and mutilation of 2 teenage girls in Port St. Lucie, Florida. He is suspected of up to 26 further murders, described by prosecutor Robert Stone as the most sexually deviant person he had ever encountered. Schaefer was sentenced to 2 terms of life imprisonment at his 1973 trial to be served at Florida State Prison. He was stabbed to death by a fellow inmate while incarcerated at this facility in December of 1995. Schaefer became known as the Killer Cop and was a sheriff's deputy in Martin County, Florida, at the time of his initial arrest. He also became known as the Hangman due to his favored practice of binding restrained women to trees with the hangman's noose around their neck prior to their torture and murder. Sounds like the BTK. I have a short interview with him. It's like 2 minutes long.
And what are you accused of?
Well, do you mean what am I convicted of or what am I accused of? I'm accused of a lot more than I'm convicted of.
He's just
I
a
know
creep.
First, what are you accused of?
Well, I was accused of originally accused of killing 34 women, but nobody has ever managed to come up with 34 names, jurisdictions, or anything else. It's a false accusation.
And what is your conviction?
I was convicted of killing 2 in Fort Pierce. I was never shown to be at the crime scene. There was never any link between me and the people that were killed, except the testimony of the mother of one of them.
Why do you sometimes supposedly called or been in touch with some newspaper telling them that you're the biggest killer of women in this century?
Who is that? That's what Robert Stone says. That's not a secret. That's on the front page of the Palm Beach Post newspaper on May the 13th, 1973. The Sunday paper, and that's what it says. That's not what I say. That's what Robert Stone said, and that's what the Palm Beach Post said.
Oh yeah, charming.
So if I say that, that's just parroting what they've said. I denied it. I have always denied it. But I'm not going to sit down here and say that I've never been accused of it. Robert Stone said that I was the #1 killer of women in this century. That's bullshit. He's a liar. You're a liar, Robert Stone.
And when did you start writing fiction?
Oh, you want to hear about the book? In 1963. I've been a writer since 63, published since 63 in fiction.
And what are you accused of?
He just seems like a normal dude, but when you know what he did, you can just see the sickness in him. Crazy. Yeah, very arrogant. Oh, you want to talk about my book? I'm glad you brought it up. How many of you guys know about the baby Lisa case? Maybe we'll play a couple videos of that and then we'll get out of here. If you guys want to see a deep dive that we did, I think it was episode 27 of True Crime in the Morning. So if you guys go to my channel, I have a playlist for everything that I did on True Crime in the Morning. Just go to episode 27. We did a deep dive into that case. Still an unsolved mystery. They still don't know what happened. Plenty of people are accusing the mother of accidentally killing her after coming home from a party. And then somebody helping to dump the body.
Fox News alert, potentially big new allegations in the disappearance of Missouri baby Lisa Irwin. We are now hearing reports that a local handyman known as Jersey reportedly bragged that he got paid $300 to steal this baby. John Paserno is the Irwin family's local attorney, and he's with me now. John, welcome back to the program. All right,
Thank
so
you.
I want to underscore that this is, at least triple hearsay. But walk us through how this allegation first surfaced.
The allegation came to us from the mother of an individual who said that her daughter had knowledge that she was with somebody who claims that Jersey made that statement earlier.
Okay, so
it happened
Jersey,
the night after the vigil.
Jersey is according to this person, Jersey's with this guy the night after the vigil for baby Lisa, and Jersey says to the guy what?
From what I heard from the girl firsthand when I interviewed her was that for $300 that he helped get baby Lisa.
He helped get her.
Yes.
So somebody paid him.
Well, we don't know that. That's what we're
I
trying
know.
to track
I'm
down.
saying that's the claim in this report.
That is the claim.
Okay, and so he told this to some guy. Do we know who that guy is?
I don't have a name. It's someone who is.
You think, Kate? A lot of
this
people think that too.
/ homeless.
I'm not
group of
sure.
People. We are right now in the process of trying to locate this individual.
And the reason we know about this guy and this alleged conversation is because this unnamed guy then told this story to this 17-year-old girl, as I understand. Yes?
That's correct.
Okay. And you've spoken with her.
I have spoken with her. We did that on Tuesday when Bill Stanton and Joe Tacopina were in Kansas City when we moved the family back into their home.
Do you find her credible, John?
Actually, she didn't seem to have a care in the world one way or the other. I believe her when she told me that's what she heard. But obviously, without having interviewed that individual myself, I can't, attest to his credibility.
Do you know whether she has alerted or have you alerted the police to that alleged conversation?
Yes, we have. We've been in constant contact almost on a daily basis, particularly with the FBI on all of the new leads that we get via texts, via emails, and sometimes phone calls. So the FBI specifically, we've been working closely with.
I mean, because if this conversation really took place.
For some of you that aren't familiar with this case, let's go into a different video here. Here's an interview with the mom.
Let's talk about the wine. How much did you consume that day?
I had several glasses.
Okay, so what happened was she left baby Lisa at the house and went to her neighbors to hang out. She had the baby monitor in her hand and she got drunk. She drank a shit ton of wine, and when she came back, that's when all hell broke loose.
Wine.
When you say several, more than 3?
Yeah, but that has nothing to do with her.
More than 5?
Probably.
More than 10?
No.
Was it just wine, or was there
just
other
wine.
alcohol?
Just wine. Lisa was in bed and the boys were laying down watching a movie with the neighbor's daughter.
Were you drunk?
Yeah.
Do you have a drinking problem?
No, I don't think so.
Some folks are going to have an issue with you having
I'm sure they are.
more than 5 drinks while you're looking after a little baby and 2 little boys.
She was sleeping. I don't see the problem in me having my grown-up time. I take good care of my kids. I keep my house clean. I do their laundry. I kiss their boo-boos. I fix them food. I'm involved in their school stuff. I mean, to me, there's nothing wrong with me doing what I want to do after dark. As soon as I'm done drinking, I go right to bed.
9.5.
Is that what happened on this night?
Right, which is why I don't do it till my kids are in bed.
Does it happen every night?
No.
How many times a week would you say?
Maybe a couple times a week.
How drunk were you?
Just drunk.
I mean, were you slurring your words? Were you stumbling?
I don't think so, no.
Is it possible you had a blackout?
It's a possibility. I mean, just like anybody else, when you drink, you don't remember the things that happen and stuff like that. But yeah, it's a possibility, but it once again has nothing to do with my daughter.
Is it possible you blacked out and something happened to Lisa during that time?
No.
Why?
I go to sleep every single time, and everybody knows me. Every time I drink anything, we've had get-togethers with family.
She went missing in the middle of the night,
We'll be
Mustang.
drinking and hanging out, playing pool and stuff. And I will, once I've had enough to drink, I just get really tired. I go right upstairs and go right to bed. I don't even say bye to people.
Not only does Deborah Bradley admit that she was drunk on the night in question, she also told America Live that she was taking prescription medication at the time. Did you take any drugs?
No.
Are you a drug user?
No.
Are you on any drugs?
No. I take anxiety medication, but I mean, it's not narcotic, no.
Even before this episode, this event?
Yeah.
Okay. And were you taking it that night?
Yeah, I take it every morning.
And in a bombshell development, Deborah is now changing her story about the critical night in question, about last seeing her daughter at 10:30 p.m. that evening. Deborah now claims for the first time that, in fact, the last time she saw her child alive that night was 4 hours earlier than she has been telling police. When you went in at 10:30 after the neighbor left, what did you do?
Probably went right to my room.
Why do you say probably?
Because sometimes I check on her. Well, most of the time I check on her. And then the boys, their room is right next to each other, and I sneak in and make sure, the boys had been awake, and I had went in there and told them they could come sleep in my bed. And so I'm assuming that I went and checked on her too, but I don't know.
You don't remember?
No.
So it's possible you did not check on her before you went to bed at 10:30.
Yeah, but there's no way that anybody could have got in.
So the last time you saw your daughter alive in your home was when you put her down at
Right,
6:40.
when I put her down, yeah.
And the last time you saw her alive was when?
Was at 5:20 when I had left for work.
Jeremy, what's your reaction to hearing this back and forth about Deborah drinking and being drunk and blacking out and not remembering everything that happened the night that Lisa disappeared?
I don't really have much of a reaction. I mean, regardless of how much she was drinking, or if she was drunk, or if she supposedly blacked out or whatever, it doesn't change who you are and what you do.
And it doesn't end there. What was the question that Deborah failed on her police polygraph? Did the police ever accuse Jeremy, the father? What did police tell the couple about their cell phones being tracked by investigators? And who was watching the children when Deborah bought that box of wine and the baby wipes earlier that evening? We will have much.
Box of wine. So this is a really strange case. They have some CCTV footage of a guy like walking down the street who appears to be holding a baby. There are some witnesses that may have seen a guy in the middle of the night carrying a baby. So yeah, if you guys are interested in that case, there was a fire in a dumpster. And they checked on that. They thought maybe she was burned in there, or some of her clothes or a blanket or evidence may have been burned in a dumpster. So yeah, if you guys are interested in that case, make sure you go take a look at that episode. But I think that's going to be it for today's check-in. If there's anything that you guys want to add, do so now. We will be going live a little bit later today. I kind of want to continue what we were talking about yesterday in regards to the Delphi murders. So I think we'll be live maybe at about anywhere between 4 and 6 p.m. Arizona time. No, she's never been found. So if you guys are interested, like I said, go check out the episode of True Crime in the Morning. We did a deep dive. We did like a 2.5 hour live stream on it. We talk about everything. Hey, Shadow. Yeah, we're about to get out of here. We'll be live again a little bit later in the day. Just wanted to do a quick little check-in and See what you guys were up to. Thanks, Joni. Thanks for hanging out. Yeah, the Androcchio case. I agree with that. Right now it's 10:40 a.m. Thank you, V. Episode 27. Purple. So yeah, if I kind of left you guys with that cliffhanger, just go, just transition from here over to True Crime in the Morning, episode 27. It's an interesting case. It's still an unsolved mystery. Even though the mother looks very suspicious, there were some investigators who came and they had cadaver dogs, and they picked up a scent at the foot of her bed. So that kind of gave birth to the theory that she was so drunk that she brought the baby into bed with her, and when she woke up, the baby had been smothered. And then her and the father worked together to hide, the fact that had happened. Yeah, that would be episode 27. Nothing has been filed. I can double check, but I checked 3 times today. And I'll check again real quick before we get out of here. Oh, shit. Yeah, it looks like there's an order. Something was issued here. Let's see. There's courthouse management and decorum order. Looks like that was put out today. And then a motion file, ex parte motion. And that was filed by Richard Allen. Let me put that up on the screen for you guys. Zoom in. So during the live stream, this must have been updated. Courthouse management decorum order for jury trial and a motion filed, ex parte motion filed by Richard Allen. So we'll get into that a little bit later. We're going to dive into Abby and Libby's case. Like I said, around 4 p.m., anywhere between 4 and 6 p.m. my time. It's 10:43 here in Arizona right now. Yeah, it's an interesting case, Friendly. I mean, there's a lot going on. They have CCTV footage of somebody that appears to be carrying a baby. They have investigators who are kind of pointing the finger at the mother. During a search, they found diapers and like baby formula in an abandoned home. Like there's a whole lot going on with that case. So if you want to know more about it, go check out episode 27 of True Crime in the Morning. We spent 2.5 hours covering that case. There's a lot to go over. Yep, you got it, Purple. Yeah, looks like ex parte and decorum order. So we know ex parte, that's going to be private. Maybe meeting with some more experts. Thank you, V. And we'll figure it out. Hopefully, we'll have more information for you later on in the day. Yeah, leave me a comment, Joni. Let me know what you think when you get over there. And I'll see you guys a little bit later today. So I'll catch you on the flip side. Peace.